is not really known yet about the shedding, but every audience asks me questions, so I will tell you what is known, and understand everything else is speculation at this point. 2 facts. 1, on page 67 of the Pfizer application, the people that were getting enrolled in the Pfizer trial, like phase 1 or phase 2, had to sign a waiver for various things. And on page 67, the waiver they signed was that if you came into contact with a woman who was pregnant, that was considered an EDP, an exposure during pregnancy for the woman, based on inhalation or skin contact. This is on page 67 of the Pfizer application. If you're on Twitter, I tweeted it about 2 or 3 weeks ago, if that's an easier way for you to find it. That's a fact. I want to assure you that you're not allowed to just write anything willy-nilly in these scientific papers. It's not as though Pfizer could just say, well, just in case it might do this, we can put it in. That's actually illegal. So, in other words, Pfizer had some reason for believing this. Fact number 1, they say it can happen through inhalation or skin contact, or they're concerned about it. Fact number 2, everybody's seen reports and comments from people saying that there's irregular vaginal bleeding all over the world. We know that these are being scrubbed from the internet quite quickly, but everyone has seen them. And I'm attesting, as the founder of America's Frontline Doctors, that we have received innumerable emails all over the world saying the same thing. So I take those 2 facts, 1, that Pfizer says something can happen with inhalation skin contact, and fact number 2, something's actually happening. So I think something's happening. Beyond that, we don't have an answer. But I think it will be more clear over the next year or 2, which is why you have to let medical trials run their course and you don't give them out to hundreds of millions of people all the time. I'll take the part of the question that I think interests everybody and probably, I didn't even talk about so much in today's talk, but it's the spike protein itself. The vaccines are mRNA, which teaches your body to make spike proteins. When you get the shot, your body pretty immediately makes trillions, like 10 trillion spike proteins. This is what we know about the spike proteins for sure. 1, the spike proteins themselves are disease-causing. It's a word called pathogenic. They themselves cause disease. They're kind of sticky. Someone compared it to Velcro a little bit. They stick with each other. They stick to the endothelial cells. They stick to the vascular cells. They stick to the pulmonary cells. They cross the blood-brain barrier. And they're physically very similar to proteins in the reproductive organs. They're similar to something called syncytium 1, syncytium 2, which is on the placenta, and also sperm and ovum. This is what we know for sure about the spike proteins. There was a study out of Salk Institute in San Diego. I think that was the Salk study. If it wasn't Salk study, but it was Salk, I think. Where they took, not the virus, but they made it like a fake, a pseudovirus, and around the pseudovirus they put the spike proteins to see what would happen. The spike proteins themselves were disease-causing. All of the vaccine candidates are using spike proteins. This is what we know for sure. Other abnormalities that are going on right now, as you've noticed, they're recommending that everybody take the vaccines. That's never happened. If you had chickenpox, you didn't take the chickenpox vaccine. If you had measles, you don't take the measles vaccine. As an ER doctor, I wanted to take the hepatitis B vaccine. They checked my titers first to make sure I didn't already have it. Then I didn't. Then they gave me this series of shots. But now they're telling everybody to take this shot. It's very suspicious. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So let me tell you what I know and what I don't know. I believe what you're referring to is a video that was done by, there was a Nobel Peace Prize, a Nobel Science winner, Luc Montagnier, right? He wasn't Pfizer, that guy, he was a Nobel Prize winner. I know about Michael Yeadon, but that guy, the video that you're referring to, everyone in the world sent it to me. It did not say that. I just want to be clear. If you watch the video, that's not what he said. He said it was bad, it wasn't good, etc., but he did not say that everyone's going to die. So, I just want to be clear because everyone sends me things, and so I watched that one. My first thing is, if you've taken the vaccine, let it go, okay? This is life. All day long, we human beings make decisions that we regret. This is not new. Do not obsess about it. It's done. It's done. Just let it go. I don't know what the future's going to hold. I don't know what the future's going to hold for people who have the vaccine. There's so many potential threats, but I'm not God. I don't know what's going to happen. I can say that it puts you at increased risk of things. There's all these children in the Philippines who took the dengue vaccine, courtesy of Sanofi, and 600 children died, and 100,000 children are living for the rest of their lives in a weakened state. I kind of think that's with the vaccine this time. I think people are vulnerable. But what can you do? That's life. Let it go. And don't believe the worst thing that you hear. The human body has a great capacity to adapt and to whatever. Just let it go. Red.
Dr. Gold, when you face someone from the other religion that tells you that people have died from COVID, first, what do you tell them? Second, COVID is a lie. Why are they making us take the vaccine? Why do you think that they're making, are they marking people? Why do you think they're making us take the vaccine? Thank you.
We may not agree that COVID is a lie. I've taken care of many COVID patients. I am not the person who's going to stand up in front of you and say that this doesn't exist. For me, as an ER physician, it exists, but it existed the same way influenza existed, microplazma pneumonia existed, strep pneumonia, it exists. It's a disease. It takes out the frail, it takes out the elderly, it takes out people at or exceeding their life expectancy. The average age of death of a person with COVID-19 was above the American life expectancy. In other words, it took you out at the time you were going to go out. Like that's what it was. That's why I wonder if this, if there wasn't social media and political nonsense, I just can't imagine this was even been a topic. So it's a real thing. Just to flesh it out a little bit, many of you have heard that the average person who died from COVID-19 had 2.6 comorbidities, right? Okay, that number was upped by the CDC also on May 5th. Now it's 4. In other words, the average person who died from COVID-19 had 4 comorbidities. They may up it again in 6 months, who knows? But that really matched my experience as an ER doctor. The most important comorbidity is obesity and diabetes. And by the way, your doctor's no longer allowed, I guess, to say obesity because that's considered fat shaming, which I really resent because I think doctors are here to talk to patients. I mean, if you're living in mortal fear from SARS-2, it might help you. You might be motivated to lose weight. That's your big fear, right? If your doctor actually told you that, the truth. Anyways, obesity and diabetes are high sugar. And then usually 2 or 3 other things, like bad heart, bad lungs, bad kidney. We're not talking high blood pressure and asthma. Okay, we're talking like serious comorbid conditions. And 95% of the people who died of COVID-19 had other diagnoses, right? So it wasn't, okay, so it exists. Your other question about motives is tough for me. And for many months, I really didn't speculate on motives out loud. But when they did this thing with the children, it just took it to a whole other level. When you look, there was no urgency for the children. If it was purely financial, which I actually never thought it was purely financial, but if it was purely financial, all they really had to do is wait a little bit, right? You wait 6 months, you wait a year, it gets released, full approval, then you'll sell it to all the kids, right? But they with such aggressiveness to the children. And I didn't share, but now's a good time. Some of you, very informed, might have seen the data that was leaked by Pfizer from Japan. Did anyone see that? You know where I'm going? A couple people, okay? So there's somebody, I guess a whistleblower, leaked this document from Pfizer from a lab in Japan, and it showed the biodistribution of where this vaccine lands. So it looked at all the organs, or like the lymph node, the liver, the spleen, the brain, the ovaries, the testes, a whole list. Where is this vaccine settling in the human body? At least up until hour 48, because 48 hours they then stopped it, which is suspicious, because normally a scientist, when they see a trend, they don't cut off the scientific inquiry until the trend has become clear. But the trend is still going up severely. There was one place in the human body where this was aggregating and accumulating, and it was the ovaries. Only the ovaries. And when I say only, that's technically inaccurate. So the spleen is typically accumulates a lot of garbage. That's part of its role in the human body, not the ovary. The ovary is a tiny, very specialized organ. All eggs that will ever accrue for all Homo sapiens live in the baby girl's body when she's born. That's it. There's no more. You can't go to Amazon and buy them. They don't exist. Now, I'm curious about this. People say to me, what does this mean? And I'm a scientist. And my answer is, I don't know for sure what it means, right? Because they stopped it at 48 hours. They haven't proven it's bad. Now, I tend to think 10 billion, whatever, spike proteins in this tiny little specialized area of the body that has all the eggs you're ever going to have as a human being is not good. I would say it's required on the other side to prove it's not good, not that it's good or not bad. So I don't know what it means, except that it means you don't give it to young, fertile people until you know what it means.
Right.
It's not a depopulation thing. I don't go down the conspiracy path. I don't. But I can't say what it means. I was stunned when I saw that graphic. I'm going to conclude with my questions. I'll see you in the back if you'd like to buy a book. Thank you. I appreciate your warm welcome. Mostly, I look forward to seeing you fighting on this battlefield.